This is the video tutorial for the Happy Days Easter basket with bunny ears. Let's make. And this is what you'll need. Fabric for the outer, fabric for the lining, interfacing. I'm using woven cotton interfacing, but you can choose any interfacing that you'd like. Ribbon and optional cam snaps. I'm starting by making the outer. Cut out 2 of your outer pieces and add interfacing if you're using it. Now place them right sides together. Ensure that all the edges and sides line up. And then add some clips. I've added some clips and now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and I'm going to use 1/4 inch seam allowance. Starting here, I'm going to sew right to the bottom and stop. Starting again at the bottom, sewing all the way across and stop. And starting here and stop. I won't be sewing in the box corners or anywhere else around here. I've sewn along the one edge, along the bottom and along the other edge, and now I'm going to box the corners. And to box the corners, pop your finger in and ensure that this bottom seam and this side seam meet up. Take your time with this, and when you're happy with that, add a clip. I've repeated for the other side, and now I'm going to take it over to the sewing machine and use 1/4 inch seam allowance. Sew all the way across and all the way across this side as well. I've sewn both sides forming the box corners, and now I'm going to turn it the right way out. I've turned it the right way out and now I'm going to put it to one side while I work on the lining. Place your lining fabrics right sides together, so pretty side to pretty side, and as we did before, line up all the bottom edges and the side edges and add some clips. I've added some clips, and as I did before for the outer, I'm going to sew using 1/4 inch seam allowance down this side and again down this side. However, on the bottom of the lining we've got to leave a gap, so start at one end and sew and stop, back stitch a bit as well to give it extra strength, and then start again and sew to the other end and stop. I've sewn along both sides and along the bottom, and I've remembered to leave a gap at the bottom. And now I'm going to do the box corners. To box the corners, exactly the same, finger in there and line up this side seam and this bottom seam and get them in line. And add a clip and do exactly the same for this side. I've added my clips, and as I did before, 1/4 inch seam allowance, so all along this side and all along this side to form the box corners. I've sewn both the box corners on the lining, and I'm leaving the lining the wrong way out. I'm taking the outer bag, which is turned the right way out, and I'm going to put it inside the lining. I put the outer, which was turned the right way out, inside the lining, which remained the wrong side out. I've matched up these seams and added clips both sides, and I've continued to add clips all the way around. I'm now going to take it over to the sewing machine and use a 1/4 inch seam allowance, sew all the way around where these clips are, all the way around. Take your time because there's quite a lot of curves to go around. I've sewn all the way around where the clips were, and as you can see I've also snipped carefully all round the edges. This is to give a much nicer finish when we turn it. And I'm now going to turn it the right way out by pulling through the gap in the lining. I've turned it the right way out. I've used my tube turner to push the ears out. I strongly suggest you buy one of these. They're well worth it. And now I'm going to sew up the gap in the lining. I've sewn up the gap in the lining and I've pressed it, and now I'm going to top stitch all the way around. You could use your fancy stitch at this stage if you wish. Take your time. I've top stitched all the way around, and now it's time to shape the ears. To do this, measure 11 centimetres from the tip, and on the lining side draw a line at 11 centimetres all the way across with your heat erasable pen, as I've done, and repeat for the other ear as I've done. To get the shaping for the ear, fold your ears together and ensure that the line you've just drawn lines up, and then add a clip, and do the same for the other ear. Next, take it over to the sewing machine and sew carefully along the line on both sides. That's the bunny ears formed, and now we need to add our chocolate and ribbon. I've added my chocolates and I've finished off with a nice bow, and that's our Easter basket with bunny ears all finished. If your children are anything like our grandchildren, they won't bother putting the ribbon back on. So we've added a cam snap so we can put it back together quite easily.